Hi and welcome to this women's OCAA volleyball matchup in the Capital Region between the George Brown Huskies and the Algonquin College Wolves. I'm Seth Poore, and alongside me is
Owen O'Kelly.
And we're here today to broadcast you this volleyball game here today. Owen, two teams coming in here looking to get another win on the year. We're looking at the women's side for Algonquin. In the last 3 games, 2 victories, 1 loss, 1 3-0 win against Loyalists, 1 3-2 very close game against St. Lawrence, and a 3-0 loss against Durham.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, that was a very close and unfortunate loss for George Brown. They should be looking to up their streak. They're on a streak of 2 right now, hoping to increase that to 3. Algonquin reeling from their first loss just a few weeks ago, but they've been on a nice, tight winning streak since then. A streak of 1.
Yeah. and they're 4-1, and they're looking strong. Talking to Everton Senior head coach, he mentioned versus Durham, they just played better. They just had more opportunities, and they took advantage of that. We saw that a couple weeks ago where the team that took advantage of those opportunities that were given to them were the ones that were end up winning those crucial points, and they were getting separation in the points column. And on the other side, the George Brown Huskies, 2-3, like you mentioned, 2-game winning streak starting the year 0-3, got back in the win column and almost at 500. Last 3 games, one loss and 2 wins. Loss came against St. Lawrence 3-2. They won against Canadore 3-2, and then Centennial with a 3-1 win. So 2 very tight games in the last 3 games they've been playing. So they know how to play when it comes close, and you know it's going to be a game for them as well. And talking to head coach Daphne Chow before the game, she mentioned that they beat Algonquin in the preseason, so they know how to beat them. So it'll be very interesting to see the Huskies, how they want to come out here against this is a very, very strong Wolves team.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know they've got to be they've got to be a little nervous going into this match. As you said, it's a very strong team. The Wolves are looking really good this year. Number 2 in the East Division, I believe. The women's team. I might be wrong about that. 3. Thank you very much, Seth, for reminding me on that. It is 3. And my apologies, folks. But yeah, just like you said, strong team coming in here, and I think. What George Brown can hope to accomplish here is just working on their defensive game. I think we should hope to see them, taking those opportunities, especially the Wolves. Like we said, that comment about Durham, they need to be following those defensive plays. They really need to make sure they don't give away those opportunities and don't give the Huskies the W today accidentally.
And that's exactly it. It's which team will take advantage, and we mentioned that. We'll say that a lot today. And Algonquin, they're key players, and we mentioned they got a lot of girls on this team that can come out, especially on the bench. They can be, but you will see a lot of the same eight of them really play here today. And, my 3 players, and we've seen them a lot: Natasha Lozone, Gabby Paquette, and Chanel Etier. Etier, she's 5th in the province in digs per set, so we know she's very strong on the defensive side. We've seen Lozone, how she can come out and play. Averaging 2.29 kills a set. Look for her to really dominate especially on that right side when she's end up on that right side. And Gabby Paquette, her as well, hitting percentage of 371. So she can dominate very well as well. Anything to add from the D3 players, or maybe someone that I didn't mention from the Wolves side?
Oh, well, certainly. You've mentioned everyone I would have mentioned from the Wolves side for sure. I would love to highlight some key players for the Huskies. Absolutely. We definitely have a nice roster of players on both teams, but I'm looking at Jessica Bellmaster on the Huskies. Total games played. They played all 5 games. They're looking really strong. They've got 106 aces. Total attacks for this season so far. They're a very key offensive player for the Huskies. They really want to keep them on their toes here. Obviously defense is key for this game, but you really got to make that offense if you want to have any hope of keeping that 2-game winning streak that they have today.
And another player I want to mention for the Huskies is Elori Sterling. She's a middle player for the Huskies. She's 3rd in the OCAA in blocks per set, so look for her to dominate on the net. And both teams coming in here wanting to get a win. We have one team, the Huskies, trying to get to 500, and the Wolves trying to keep going after they got their win against St. Lawrence last weekend. What does the Huskies have to do here today to come out here and get the win?
Well, you know, they got to have the key for them for sure is ball placement. They really got to make sure that the ball is going where they want it to go. That's the key. We see it a lot with the spikes. You know, the spikes just tend to go where they tend to go. We've seen them go across the court, up, down. Not obviously don't need them too far. They need to not make as many mental mistakes, right? You know, like any game, volleyball, it's a mental game. You got to do mental math. And, you know, just not let your opponent get inside your head. We see it a lot of fake outs in this sport. You see a lot of fake out spikes and everything like that. They've really got to keep an edge. The Wolves love to do those fake out spikes, and you know it's a good rally when you see enough of them in the same rally. That one's going to the Wolves for sure. And so Huskies really got to stay on top of that, make sure they don't get psyched out.
And for the Wolves, their big thing is really, you know, their defensive coverage. Can they dig well? And that back line, how well do they play? And that's really going to be the one key here today for them. And the other thing, kills. If they can get some great attacks and put the ball where they want to put it, and we've seen it a couple times, especially with low zone, we're going to see here, she's going to come in with those just straight hand attacks, and you'll see her coming with that angle. So it's going to be very interesting to see the front line, where they put the ball. Are they going to go those little tips? And it's going to be really to see how well they play against this Huskies front line. But for now, in the next 9 minutes, we'll have O Canada, and we'll be back on for the start of this one between the George Brown Huskies and the 7th-ranked team in the province, the Algonquin College Wolves. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm Seth Poirier.
Owen O'Kelly.
And we will be right back. Hi and welcome back to the doubleheader here tonight between the George Brown Huskies and the Algonquin College Wolves. We have the women's game, which will begin very shortly, and the men's game, which will be at 8 o'clock. Owen, it's going to be a very exciting 2 games here to be with you guys. Very excited to be here.
You're absolutely right about that, Seth. There's no doubt about it. We're in for some great volleyball tonight.
As we mentioned before, the Huskies looking to get to a 500 record. They're 2-3. Wolves 4-1, looking to continue their win streak. They won 1 game against St. Lawrence last weekend and lost against Durham, which was a big loss for them. And Everton Senior, the head coach for the Wolves, mentioned, he said there's a lot of things we have to fix. Starting lineup for the George Brown Huskies. Number 2, Caitlin McFung. Number 5, Karina Nimima. Number 9, Julia Gordon. Number 11, Jada Morrow. Number 12, Alexa Malott. Number 14, Ellery Sterling. And number 22, Jessica Bowmaster. And now for the Wolves starting lineup. Number 1, Danica St. Louis. Number 4, Pasha Ormerod. Number 5, Jordan Fag. Number 8, Isabella Tarango. Number 9, Chanel Etienne. Number 10, Karis Tantori. Number 13, Gabby Paquette. And number 16, Natasha Lozon. Like mentioned earlier, Everton Senior, head coach of the Algonquin College women's volleyball team and head coach for the George Brown Huskies, Daphne Chow. As we have the starting lineup announced inside the gym here today at the Jackdaw Recreational Center. It will be a very exciting matchup. Owen, what's your biggest, what do you want to see here today?
Well, one thing we got to say, we admire the theatricality of our Algonquin College support staff here, turning down the lights as we put the spotlights on the court to bring out our star players for the lineup. As you just mentioned, here they are coming out on the court. But to answer your question, Seth, what I'm looking for today is just seeing a nice fast-paced game. You know, the one thing we love to see in a volleyball game is some of those rallies. We talked about it before, the fake-outs. I'd like to see some of those mental battles happening because I would love a chance to see the Huskies battling it out. As I mentioned at the top, they need to be winning more of those mental games if they want to start moving up in the roster. They're currently number 7, I believe, in the East Division to Algonquin's 3rd. So it's looking like, you know, a nice runaway match here for the Wolves, but you know, you never know. We like to root for an underdog.
They beat them during the preseason, George Brown.
Oh, that's true.
That is true,
That's
right?
true.
So never know.
Absolutely, you never know. So yeah, you know, could be the day to root for an underdog, but of course, got to stay loyal to my beloved Wolves.
And the other thing I want to mention, talking to Daphne Chow before the game, she mentioned that there's only 4 returning veterans. Well, the rest of the team is all rookies, so it's a very big, you know, you have to start over every year almost, since there's only 4 veterans. She also mentioned that there's not really a captain of the team. Everyone's accountable. Everyone needs to play their part. There's not one person. It's just everyone knows what they have to do and come in and play this year. So they just got to find rhythm. She mentioned that they got to find their stride. They got to find what works for them and how they want to play their volleyball. She's known across Ontario at the OCAA level to be a very defensive coach. The mindset is very defensive. So look for the defensive play from the Huskies, very strong. But she said in the past couple years, they changed. They went more on the offensive side. So it's going to be interesting to see here how that is as we're getting set in front of us.
That will be very fascinating to see indeed. And as you said, beating them in preseason is huge, and you know, could go either way. The no captain thing, I think, is very, very fascinating for the Huskies.
As the Wolves, Gabby Paquette will start off this one here on the serve line. Owen, incredible 2 games that we have here today. Excited, nothing less. Paquette serve over the net here.
We know Paquette has a strength in serving. As it comes in, you know, we see right firsthand there, the commentator curse as soon as I open my mouth. We get the first point for the Wolves. They still have a long road ahead to claim this game for Algonquin.
Paquette once more on the serve here. Over the net it goes. Big spike attempt by Karina Niemima. And that point goes to the Huskies off a deflection which goes out of bounds. And the Huskies tie this one up 1-1. Number 5, Karina Niemima up to the serve line here.
Very good move from the offensive line there on the Huskies. Keeping their paws off that ball. They let it go out, let them claim that point.
Tentori off the set from Gabby Paquette. She tips over, and you mentioned a lot of the tip games. It's these strong attacks that the Wolves have, but they can tip it, and like we see just right here.
It's definitely an interesting strategy set for them to use at the start of the game.
Number 14, Alori Sterling. She's a key player for this Husky team. She spikes that one, and it's uncontrollable from the Wolves, and the Huskies get their second point of this one. And Sterling at the service line. Sterling serve falls right through, and that's an ace for the Huskies. We don't see much of those in the past couple games, but we see Sterling getting the first lead for her squad.
Very true, and very nice way to get it, too. A nice, clean ace for the Huskies as they take the lead.
Sterling serving it over the net here. And it's not controlled well by Karis Tentori. And the Huskies get the 2-point lead.
They may just run away with this, but still anybody's set, still anybody's game.
Sterling's third serve is not going to fall for the Huskies, and it will be Algonquin who will take control here with their third point, and that will be Isabella Tarango on the serve line.
You know what they say, is third time is the charm for the Wolves.
Tarango's serve is good over the net, and a little touch by Jada Morrow as she touches it over the net. No one was there defensively for the Wolves, and right now they're breaking down defensively, Owen.
Yeah, it seems like there's a little bit of a lack of coordination. I feel like they haven't really felt the game start yet, the full weight of that whistle. Let's hope they can clean it up.
Julia Gordon on the serve. Paquette to Lozon. Lozon with a tip over the net here. Net violation from the Wolves, and that will be a point for the Huskies. As you see Lozon's first attack.
And they're very disappointed at that one. That's a violation you don't want to have too often, especially this early in the game.
Paquette. Nice hit from Pasha Omaro as she gets her first attack of the night. Natasha Lozon on the serve line for the first time tonight. One of the star players with no doubt for this Wolves team as she gets her ball to fall over the net. Morrow to Altman over the net here. Paquette. And a nice attack here by Etier, Chanel Etier, who leads the province in digs per set. Spikes that one with a lot of power. And
a lot of power going right into number 9, Julia Gordon, for the Huskies. Unable to dig that one.
Lozon serve hits the net. The first miss net serve here in the game. We saw missed earlier from the Huskies that went out of play. So each team, one serve error on the night. As Jessica Bowmaster serves herself, and that one goes out of play.
Very observant play there from the Wolves, letting that fly right past them.
Chanel Etier getting set to serve for Algonquin. Over the net it goes. Morrow. And an attack by Alexa Millot. It's blocked at the net by Tentori, but it goes out of play, and the Huskies remain with the 2-point lead here, 8-6, George Brown.
That's very unfortunate. You know, they had a great defense there. Unfortunately, the ball just did not go where they needed it to.
Off the Millot serve. Tentori spikes that one over the net, and it will be the Huskies once again who get that point, and Millot back on the serve line.
fairly close set as we almost approach the 10th point for the Huskies.
8-8 to Paquette to Omarad over the net here. And that attack from Sterling goes out of play. As she's struggling to get stuff going here with a hitting percentage of 101. She wants that one back as she did not have the best angle to put that ball over the net there.
No, that's absolutely right. Not the best angle, but
Pasha Omarad on that serve. Moro. Nimiama on that attack. Paquette. Low zone over the net here. And that falls in play. Julia Gordon with the attack there.
One of the longer rallies we've seen as we're still in the first opening minutes of the match here, Seth. But some great digs there from the Wolves.
Jada Morrow at the serve line here for George Brown. She sends it over the net. Etier with the dig here. Paquette to Omarad. And that's deflected at the net. And that will be Algonquin who gets a much needed point as they close down this Huskies lead by 2 as George Brown 10. Algonquin 8 here as Gabi Paquette at the serve line, averaging 0.35 service aces per set. Fake sends this one up. George Brown playing very well defensively. Low zone attacks this one. Little curve on that shot. Morrow sets up her teammate there, Julia Gordon. That one goes out of play.
Very close call. Difficult to make that decision from up here. Luckily, we're not the ones to call on that one. A very nice point for the Wolves.
Pasha Omarad on the serve as there's a misplay here from the Huskies. They left their positions too soon there, Owen, and the Wolves tied the game back up as they were down for the most part in this first set. 10 points from all this.
Definitely appreciate you're able to catch that. I had no idea what happened there, admittedly.
Omarad sends it over. Morrow. And out of play, Sterling's spike attempt. And the Wolves.
A lot of celebration there by Paquette, managing to keep her hands off that one.
Get the lead for the first time in a while here. They lead by 1. Omarad. Oh, sorry. Paquette on the serve. Fake sends it up. Paquette to low zone. Low zone. Over the net it goes. Morrow. Nimiama. Paquette to Fake here. Etier. The back line attack. Nice dig up by Fake. Tentori. Morrow. Nehemiah. That one in the court.
Just barely again, Seth. These calls difficult to make.
Oh, and that's it's early on here in the first set, but what a rally by both teams.
I was just going to say, Seth, absolutely. We saw some great determination from the Huskies there, really determined to keep those digs up. Libero putting in work there.
Paquette up to Tentori. Tentori with the little tap of the fingers there, able to make that one fall.
Just a nice cheeky dump to get the point for the Wolves.
And sometimes that's all it takes. You don't always need to have those big attacks, especially with George Brown's expecting it. There's a big hole, and we talked about ball placement for Huskies.
Yep.
What about Algonquin taking that into consideration as they get back-to-back points?
Especially those defensive, the holes, like you said, they're leaving them on the court. They're open areas. You really got to close those up because the Huskies, they're going to sniff them out for sure.
Tentori on the serve here. Bowmaster sends it over. Paquette to Etier. Etier with a little touch. Moreau back up. Nice block by Omarad. Nice dig by Tentori. Lozon will put it over the net. Off the net it goes. Bowmaster. Paquette sends it up. Fake to Etier. And that falls in. What a play from the Wolves. Etier gives her team the 3-point lead.
Just another tremendous rally here. It looks like the Wolves are starting to wake up and take a nice 3-point lead here after that heavy deficit at the start of the match.
Tentori on the serve line, and her serve. Bowmaster cannot receive that well, and she gives her team the 4-point lead. 15 for the Wolves, 11 for the Huskies. As she's back to the line, Tentori. Her second one. Out of play it goes, and George Brown and Sterling with the serve here, as she needs to get her team back in this one, as the momentum was swung one side to the next, and Algonquin stole it for the last little bit here. St. Louis knocks this one up. Paquette, Etier with the attack here. Morrow backs up to get this one. Nehemiah gets it. St. Louis. Paquette here. Tentori bumps it over the net. Morrow to Bowmaster. She drops it in, and St. Louis with the diving attempt cannot save that one, Owen.
Cannot disregard that attempt, though. Was really last minute. A little improper form, and that may be what set up for the loss there, but still none of the teammates around to help her out with that reception.
Sterling on the serve here. That one goes out of play, and the Wolves get the point off the missed serve from Sterling. And the Wolves, 12.16 kills per set, compared to the 7.76 on the George Brown side. So almost double is what the Wolves have over the Huskies on the kills per set.
Certainly not a great game for the Huskies if you're purely looking at numbers.
Moreau sends it up to Bowmaster. Bowmaster sends it down and puts it down for the point for George Brown.
That's a nice, easy kill for the Huskies. As we talked about, that's a nice open hole for the Wolves there that they really had to close up and really hang on to that defensively. They really lacked the coordination there to tighten up that defense.
Julia Gordon on the serve here. Paquette, a quick set here to Ormerod, and Ormerod off the deflection, able to drop it in, and no one was there in the far right corner, and the Wolves get a point here with Lozon. It's her second time on the service line as her team leads by 3. She puts it up over the net, and Bowmaster cannot receive it as Lozon's serve falls right down where she wants it to go, and George Brown's forced to call a timeout. Owen, early on, Algonquin was losing very early, and there was not really a lot of momentum on their side, but now in the recent, they were able to flip it since they got to 10 points. What was the biggest thing you think that made Wolves be where they are right now?
Something I'm definitely noticing on both teams' set is they're attempting these digs with a set. You understand? They're coming at these hard spikes are coming in, and they're immediately going for the set, and that's causing the ball to divert way off them and go way out of bounds, unfortunately giving them the last touch. I'm seeing it happen to the Huskies and the Wolves both equally. I think the difference is the Wolves, like I said, they're starting to wake up, really actually realize the game has actually started now. We're going, and I've said it when I was on with Lucas Gallen last week. The first period, first set, first quarter of basketball, that's like the warm-up set. That's the warm-up quarter. And you might say this the same about the Wolves. They maybe had the first 10 points as the warm-up points there. But as we come out of the George Brown's timeout here, as players make their way back to the court, we'll hopefully see more of that performance from the Wolves.
Exactly there, as Lozon back to the serve line as George Brown tried to cut the momentum and steal it from the Wolves with that timeout call. We see that a lot happen with these timeouts. Lozon, and exactly what the Huskies wanted. They want to get back momentum, and right there they're successful at it with Lozon missing her serve. 18-15, the Wolves lead by 3. Bowmaster at the serve line. Paquette to Ormerod, and she puts it right where she needs it to be, and Bowmaster cannot receive that well, and that's the second time in the last 2 Wolves points that we see Bowmaster unsuccessfully able to receive the attack from the Wolves.
100%, Luca, Seth. As we begin the name-swapping portion of the evening, folks.
Ete, over the net it goes. Niamima, she sends it over
Not sure what happened there. She just didn't seem prepared for it.
It's a back line was not able to dig that one up. And the Wolves get that point. 20-15 here. 5 points for the Wolves to get the first set victory. As they lead by 5 with Chanel Etier, her second trip to the serve line. She gets it to fall over the net. After that, receive error here by Niamima as Morrow cannot control it off the net. The Wolves get the lucky point there as they get set for another serve by Etier.
4 points away from claiming the set for Algonquin.
Bowmaster up to Morrow. Low zone can't get that off the Alexa Malott attack, and Malott goes to the third line here for her team. She's averaging 1.76 kills per set. She gets one there. Etier digs it up. St. Louis runs back to go get that one. Paquette over the net. Tentori, sorry. Moreau. And that one's blocked at the net by Omarad and Tentori, but falls right back in their court off that Sterling attack. And the Huskies get back-to-back points with Alexa Malott. Her serve over the net. St. Louis digs that one up. Omarad on the attack. And that's digged up well by Malott. And there is a net violation on the part of the Huskies. And the Wolves get another break there, get a point as they're 3 points shy of winning the first set here. As Pasha Omoro sends this one up. Morrow to Sterling. Sterling! Her attack goes out of play. And she's contesting to the official saying that it was deflected on the net, but it doesn't. And there will be another timeout from George Brown. 2 points away is the Wolves here, but the Huskies creeping closer and closer. What does the Huskies have to do to not allow the Wolves to get this first set?
Well, I just want to say that spike, while very powerful and not so much accurate, but definitely a lot of speed and power behind it, just not exactly hitting where they need to. I think, like you said at the top, they're very guilty of those deflective spikes. You know, the ball like kind of bouncing around, not landing where it needs to be. Something I am noticing is the Huskies seem to do a lot worse during the rally when the Wolves have service. So I think what the Huskies need to do is really tighten up on that defense, and really that's a mental battle, I would call that set, that when faced with a serve from the stronger Algonquin players. Something they really need to tighten up on and really make sure they tighten, like I say, tighten up that defense while they're out of service. I think will help them close that gap, and like we're seeing it happen here. And I think they just need a little more of that coordination, just a little more accuracy on some of these powerful spikes, because they're going to be making the Wolves real nervous for the rest of the night if they keep playing how they're going.
Yeah, I agree with that, as we're seeing Misha Janif from White Rock, BC, 5'5" setter, enter the game here for Gabby Paquette, as well as Canberra Alford, number 11 from White Horse Yellowknife, left hitter, 5'9" left hitter. She enters the game from Natasha Lozone. As Pasha Morrow here on the serve. Morrow sends it up to Niamima, and she gives the point to the Wolves here after her missed attack. That goes out of play, and right there, the Wolves 1 point shy of claiming the first set, and it's off the hands of Omar Road here, who will send it over the net. And she gets the point. The Terrace, BC native, gets the winning point of the first set for the Wolves, 25-17. Algonquin gets a well-needed first set victory.
Definitely setting the tone here early with that first set. A little rough going at the start, like we said, but they seem to have found their stride, like you said, after that 10th point. So as long as the Wolves can keep going like this, they can hopefully keep the momentum going here with the mirrored set.
And we talk about it all the time, momentum, and especially in this game, in a volleyball, who wins the first set carries a lot because now you're up by 1, right? And so this is very good for the Wolves and the Huskies. They got to get out of it. So they were leading by a bit. They played great until they got to that 10th point. And once they got to 10 point, the Wolves matched them 10-10. They kind of fell off from there. Now they were creeping towards the end, but it was just too late.
Yeah, like you said, just a little too late, a little too little.
As we're seeing here from the Wolves, Chanel Etier and Karis Tantori, 4 kills in that set, with Tantori leading the Wolves with 2 digs. And on the other side, Sterling, 4 kills, and Baumaster 2 kills, and Baumaster leading the Huskies with 3 digs on the night, as the Wolves and the Huskies going for the second set very shortly. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Wolves lead this one 1-0. Hi, and welcome back to this OCAA women's volleyball game between the George Brown Huskies and the Algonquin College Wolves. I'm Seth Poore, and alongside me in the booth,
Owen O'Kelly.
And we just saw Algonquin get the first set victory over the Huskies. Let's see what the Huskies have in store to get back in this one. As the Wolves get the first point off that Paquette to Tantori attack. As
number 13 for the Huskies, Marshall, unable to get that dig, going a little too far above their head.
Paquette on the serve here. Morrow going back to get it. Gordon on the attack, but it's blocked at the net by Isabella Tarango. And the Wolves get the quick 2-0 lead.
Poranet.
It digged up here from Niamima, who attacks it herself and gets the point here. The first one of the second set for George Brown, as she gets to the serve line. Karina Niamima sends it up here. Paquette sends it to Tarango. Tarango not able to successfully put that inside the playing area, and the Huskies get back-to-back points, and now the game's tied back up 2-2 here. Niamima sends it over, and that one goes out of play behind St. Louis, and she lets it go behind her, and that will be the Wolves who get the point there as Tantori set to serve.
First 2 sets have been the sets of difficult point calls to make. Those are falling centimeters within the line, Seth.
And that ace from Karis Tantori falls inside of play. And like you mentioned, right close to that back line, but that one right there was very obvious. That was in play. 4-2, Wolves lead. Tentori serve over the net. It goes. Tarango, Paquette, Etier. Nehemiah put it back up here. And it's inside the line. And Everton Senior does a little circle. He does not agree with that one. As I thought it hit the line as well, but that we're up here. That official is down there. She had a better view.
And all these calls, they just get lost in time. Eventually, you just got to move on. That's why we're given 25 chances, right? 25 points a set.
Ite with the big attack here, and Niamima cannot receive that one as it almost hits her in the face here.
Looked a little too startled by the speed at which they sent that over the net.
As Pasha Omarad back in the game here. Moro inside here to Malott off the Tarango serve. Huskies get a nice play, get the point to fall for them here. Julia Gordon set to serve for the Huskies. She puts it up and it goes over the net. Etier with the dig here. Paquet to Etier with the attack, and it's tipped at the net by Moro and Malott, but it bounces right back in the Huskies' territory, falls inside their side of the play, and then the Wolves get the point. 6-4, Algonquin lead by 2. Lozon's serve.
Bit of a kerfuffle happening with the Huskies and the coach.
Cannot get received well by George Brown, and out of play goes. Lozon goes back to the serve line here. Lozon serve, low, Niamima able to get it. Unsuccessful on the receive, and here is Faig off the Malott attack. We're seeing Malott being really involved for her team as Malott 1.7 kills per set with a hitting percentage of .223.
Beautiful dig from, I believe, is number 9 there on the Huskies. Really kept them in that rally and secured them that point. A beautiful spike.
That was a quick set here by Gabby Paquette, setting up Pasha Omarad. And Omarad put the ball where it needs to be on the open area. That sends Etier to the serve line here.
Paquette really looking like our star player for this match.
It's digged up by McFong. Attacked by Niamia.
And that's a nice, just barely letting that ball graze by them. That's out. That's an out of bounds ball for the Huskies, giving Algonquin their 9th point of the set.
Niamima not able to drop that one in the back corner. Ete serves one more time, and that one out of play. She can't get 3 to fall for her squad, as the Huskies and Alexa Malott serving now. Her team down by 3. Ete digs it up. Paquette sets up Tentori, and Tentori attacks it, deflected off on the net here by Julia Gordon. It cannot get received from the back line from George Brown, and that 10th point goes to the Wolves.
We might see a bit of a reverse set here. Maybe as the Wolves get to the 10th point, might be what the Huskies need.
It's sent over. Ite able to dig it up. Paquette will send it over here with a light touch. McFong to Niamima. And Lozon off the Paquette.
That was a great rally for the Huskies. A lot of saves, a lot of digs there, really keeping them in.
Paquette set it up for Lozon, and Lozon could not put it in that back line, and it cannot fall. Malott on the serve here. Tarango able to get it over the net, and ATA cannot get there in time, and Julia Gordon, averaging 1.5 kills a set, gets that one to fall for George Brown.
You can see that frustration from Etier. You saw there, even though we're up here on the third level, we can see the frustration from these players as they were not able to save that and dig that up for the Wolves.
Morrow sends it up to McFong. McFong to Gordon here. Paquette, Lozon from the back line. It's deflected off. McFong. And Lozon's attack works very well. And the Wolves get a well-needed point after Huskies got a couple points straight.
Still only a 3-point lead.
And Paquette will serve this one. She sends it over. And it's out of play. McFong, last second, put her hands up. She didn't want to touch that one.
Very wise choice from McFong. Libero in volleyball, you got to know that that's what you need to do. Got to make those plays. If you know that ball's going out, you got to stay away from it.
A big attack here from Karis Tantori.
Tremendous kill and a nice celebration from the teammates on the bench.
She goes to the serve line here. Her 8th kill of the night. McFong cannot control that one as Marshall runs to go and attempt to get that one back in play, and she cannot get there. So the Wolves and Tantori back on the serve line. Miscommunication between Marshall and McFong, and that ball falls right in between them, and Tantori gets a serve ace there as she keeps going here on their third serve in a row. McFong on the receiving end. Ite with the big attack on the left side.
Just inches away from number 1 on the Huskies, Pingoy.
Timeout, George Brown. Owen, 6-point lead here for the Wolves, but the Huskies are falling back and back here. What do they have to do to get right back in this one?
Well, the Huskies definitely, like I said, when the Wolves maintain service, the Huskies have a hard time receiving those serves, and it's only when the Wolves have one that goes a little too wide or goes out of bounds, that's when the Huskies are able to pick themselves back up and get those couple points when they maintain service. I think they really need to focus here, Seth, in order to now get this 6-point deficit, one of the larger ones we've seen during the match. They really need to focus in order to, clear these defensive areas and coordinate. I'm not hearing the coordination or communication. Like, again, maybe it's because we're a little too far away, but we're just not seeing that coordination with the Wolves. Lots of nice saves from their liberos, the Huskies. I will say they've got those dives. They've got the determination to keep these rallies going. And we did see a number of them there just at the start of that set, where a nice easy out, it looked like, was a hard save for the Huskies and turned it into a point for George Brown. So we see the players come back to the court now.
McFong takes a seat, and Alexa Pingoy on the court here for the Huskies. As Tantori serves it up once more. Marshall, she puts it up in low zone. Ite digs it down. And it's saved from the Wolves here. Big block from Tarango. And that one is out of play, and the Wolves get the point. And we saw in the first set when George Brown called the timeout, Lozon missed her serve there. And right there, we're seeing a timeout called by George Brown, but the Huskies cannot get the point. The Wolves get right back on the scoreboard here, leading by 7. Now leading by 8 here off the Pingoy mistake. She can't get the ball up, and Morrow cannot receive that one.
We're seeing a lot of these one-handed digs, one-handed passes here. They're not, that's a sorry way to coordinate your team. That dig.
Tantori electric on the serve line as she gets multiple serves in a row to fall in her favor, as Marshall can't receive that one and bounces right off her hands here, as
a very unfortunate dig attempt from number 13.
Nia Mima takes a seat on the bench, and Angel Lowe on the court for the Huskies. Tentori, it goes over the net. Morrow, and that's a point for the Wolves. Net violation from George Brown, and Tentori keeps her electric serve going here as she's right back to the service line.
You know, Seth, Lucas and I learned it doing our commentary. This is a net is the one thing you don't mess with. You don't mess with our pal Annette.
Tentori's serve goes out of play. Not too sure if I would agree with that one, but we got to respect it here as Sterling at the serve line here. 19-10, Wolves lead by 9. Sterling serve, over the net it goes. Paquette sets up. Tarango at midcourt. That one's over the net. Paquette. Etier on the attack. Sterling sets it up. Morrow. And it's almost saved by Julia Gordon, who runs under the net to try to get that one to go up, and it can't. And the Wolves get the 20th point here, and they're only down by 5 points to win the second set.
Leading by the largest gap we've seen, 10 points so far in the match.
McFung back in the game. She digs that one up, and a big attack here from Alexa Millard from Black Falls, Alberta. She puts it down and gives the well-needed point for the Huskies, as they were missing points in the long time. They haven't got points in a long time.
Absolutely. Hopefully my theory stands correct. As the Huskies get their service, they might be able to close this gap, as the Wolves are only 5 points away, claiming this set.
Paquette to Etier. Etier off the deflection. Ball stays up. What a play by the Huskies. Paquette to low zone. Low zone. Morrow. Marshall. Low zone saves it here. Ormerod. Etier touches it over the net. Morrow. And that one from Malott cannot be saved up by Paquette. Another great rally from both squads here.
I was going to say, Seth, one of the more impressive rallies we've seen. And I will say the Huskies, certainly entertaining to watch. They may not walk away with the victory here today. They may not even take this set, but they have certainly shown us some really risky moves and really impressive saves here in volleyball. Etier
to Paquette. That will be a double touch from Gabby Paquette, and she knows it, as she tried to set up Etier there and misplayed that touch. And Julia Gordon to the serve line here. Tentori to Paquette. Ormerod, and it's blocked at the net by Alexa Malott. What a block by her, as she did not allow Ormerod's attack to go through.
As we've seen the last 4 points going to the Huskies. They might be on a breakaway here, trying desperately to close that gap.
Gordon, over the net it goes. Etier digs it up. Paquette to Etier, and she cannot get stopped there on that left side.
Blink and you will miss it. An incredible spike from number 9.
As Lozon substitute off, as she gets a seat on the bench. Misha Janif in the game, as she will go to the serve line. Janif sends this one over. McFung. And it's misplayed at the net by Paja Marroad. And the Huskies will get that point. As St. Louis on the court for Fag here.
A real soft touch, as both players tried to dump that into the opposing side, and it falls in Wolves territory.
Marshall over to St. Louis. Janif, Ormerod, as she punches that ball, and she touches that one, and it will be Huskies who are climbing back up here, they were down by 10 now. They're only down by 5.
We're seeing it really playing the role of the underdog here tonight, Seth. We might just see them take a set or two.
Marshall over the net. It goes. Ete. Janif has to run down and go get that one. Paquette sends it over. Morrow. And it's blocked at the net by Etier and Omerod as Angel Lowe tried to send that one over. And Cambria Alford in the game here for Gabby Paquette as Fague on for St. Louis. Etier at the service line, but we will have a timeout. George Brown, Wolves down by 3 to win the second set. Huskies getting right back in this one. You talk about underdog. They're kind of fighting right now.
Speaking about it, and I'll stand by it, they've got the entertaining plays here. The Wolves really giving them a run for their money as they give them these difficult spikes here, Seth. But they're making it happen. They're making these digs work as even the ball, it flies way out of bounds, way past the actual operating area of the court. The Huskies are able to bring it back and even claim the point for that rally. And it's really just impressive. Some impressive volleyball here. Some great talent on the court today, regardless.
Yeah, 100% here. And it's going to be very interesting to see if the Wolves can get it done here and get the second set and go up by 2, which would be amazing for Algonquin. Chanel Etier, the 5'10 left hitter from Ottawa, Ontario, at the serve line here. Needing 3 points to win this second set. Let's see if George Brown can get closer and closer. Etier serve. Can't fall for Algonquin. And that will send Malott on the other side as she gets set to serve this one. Etier, not the best dig, but she gets it up. Alford. And it goes out of play off her first hit of the second set.
It's really it's looking like anybody's set. We saw the biggest point gap by 10 points from while Algonquin was leading 20-10, and now they're leading 22-18. Only 5 points for the Huskies to take the lead and potentially the set.
St. Louis sends it over. Morrow will tap it in and gets blocked at the net by Alford. That one goes out of play, and the Wolves get that one as Tentori let that one fall, and Pashal Morrow to the serve line here as Tarango in the game here for St. Louis.
2 points away from claiming the set.
Over the net it goes. Out of play it goes. And the Huskies are tightening lead as they were down by 10. 20-10, and now that's 23-19. Let's see what they can do here as Jada Morrow serves this one. High it goes, and at the last second.
Tremendous dunk there from number 1.
St. Louis.
St. Louis for the Wolves. Tremendous work from the libero.
She goes down here as Gabby Paquette will sub in the game for Cambria Alford, as well as Natasha Lozon, who will sub in for Misha Janif. And Gabby Paquette averaging 0.35 service aces per set at the serve line, needing 1 point for her team to win this second set. And it's touched at the last second by Jordan Fague.
That's a very unfortunate play for Fague there, unfortunately.
As Angel Lowe hasn't played so far this year. She attempts her first gameplay action here today. Gabby Paquette to Tentori. Tentori, McFung sends it right back up. Sterling sends it over. St. Louis to Tentori. Cross court attempt there, and Tentori cannot get that one to fall as she's down on herself because she knows she could have had that one.
Wolves inches away from taking this set, but the Huskies not giving it up easy.
Lowe sends it over. Paquette to Lozon. She tips it there. Ite digs it up. Lozon sends it over, and it falls for the winning point of the second set.
Amazing rally there. Just a short one, a short and sweet one for sure. You saw the 2 touches there as both teams tried to very gently convince the ball into the opposing court.
And right there, we see the Wolves getting a quick 2-0 set advantage as Lozon doesn't get the first tip, but able to get her second attack there to fall. It was a great set. We see a lot of rallies by both, and the Huskies, who were down by 10, were able to cut down the lead very, very short. 2-0 lead for the Algonquin College Wolves as we're getting set for the third, potentially final set here. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And we're back and getting ready to set off this third and potentially final set here as the Wolves leading by 2 here in the sets.
You know, we're obviously hopeful here, Seth. I'm hoping the Wolves, take away with a nice, easy 3-0 game. But you never know. The way the Huskies have been playing, they could surprise us tonight.
Yeah, they could, and they came back. They were down by 10. And they were able to come back and get things going. So hopefully they can get something in winning this one, right? It could be a factor, but we gotta see and wait and see what's here as the Wolves will start us off and on the serve here, as it will be Tarango who will serve it off. Marshall on the first attack of this third set. Fag to Lozon. Morrow sets this one up. Lozon's there to block it, and she does. And it's a net violation on the Huskies in the first point. Just like the second set goes to the Wolves in the third set.
We had the makings for a nice, sweet rally there to start off the set.
As Tarango sets this one over the net. Tentori able to set it up here as McFung. It's saved by Gordon. McFung sends it over. Ite puts this one up. And Tarango with the big attack. McFung on the diving attempt to receive that one. She cannot, and the Wolves go up by 3.
McFung catches that one right in her face. Unfortunately, not phased at all by it. Springs right back up and is into the action as Wolves lead this set 2-0.
By 2, sorry, yeah. Got a little mixed up on the scores there. I thought it was already 2 and they got the third one, but
all is forgiven. But that mess up did cost the Wolves a point right there. That is your fault.
Oh, it is my fault. We'll blame it on me. It's okay. It's
That's
okay.
All right. That's all right.
I'm
We'll
quite
do
fine
better.
with that. Yeah,
we'll do
exactly.
better. The commentators get one. That's what they always say.
Malott sends this one over. Bowmaster, sorry. And it's
Just
a point for the Huskies here.
Just not getting the height on that vertical that she wanted. Number 8 for the Wolves. Tourangeau is jumping up and just grazing that with her fingers, and it falls back down in front of her.
Tentori sends it up here, and the leader here from either team with 13 kills on the night. She has a day here today as she gets to the serve line. And that one of Gordon and Marshall's face. Hopefully she's okay. She looks all right as Tentori back to the serve line.
They had time just to exchange some funny looks to each other on the court here.
Nice serve there as it's digged up by Tentori, but it goes out of play. But what a play from this Huskies team to set that one up and over the net here, as it will be Marshall who will attempt this serve. Ete digs this one up. Paquette to Lozon. And it's saved there, but it will be Huskies who get the point.
Some discussion happening between Paquette and the official.
As she gets an explanation. Marshall serves this one up. St. Louis. Paquette, Etier. McFong sends this one up. Morrow, McFong able to get it on the opposite side here. Paquette, Lozon has to go back and send this one over the net. St. Louis digs this one up. Paquette, Tentori, out of play goes, and Huskies get the first lead of the third set. They're up by 1, 5-4. George Brown lead.
As they like to see that taking the lead in this set, you know, like we say, might be proving us wrong, might be calling themselves the underdogs. They just might prove it today. But a terrific rally nonetheless.
Paquette, Etier, McFong can't control that one, but Marshall saves that from going out of play. Low zone, over the net it goes, and it falls on the back line, and the Wolves tie this one back up 5-5.
This is going to be a dead heat of a set, Seth. I can just feel it.
Omar Road on the court for the Wolves. Alexia Pingo for the Huskies on, and Marshall subs off for George Brown. As Tarango serving here. Off the net it goes.
No call made.
Bowmaster sends it over. Paquette to Ete. Ete, little tip, and it saved up by McFong. Tarango up to Paquette. Lozon with the attack. It's blocked at the net, and it cannot be saved by McFong. But it is Algonquin who will get the point there.
Unfortunate loss for McFung, but really giving it her all. Is she really going for some of these digs there, Seth?
Tarango. Sorry, Omar Road serve. No, Tarango, sorry. It looked confusing as she jumped, but no. Tarango serve hits the net. And she goes off as St. Louis comes on. Malott hits the net, her as well. And the Wolves and Natasha Lozon go to the serve line here. Lozon, 6 kills on the night. She's averaging 2.2 per set here. Bowmaster McFung saves it here. Paquette to Ormerode, and that one out of play. As Everton Senior comes out of his seat as he's not liking that call.
Yeah, some of the coaches a little annoyed. Some of the coaches and the players not loving some of the calls made by the officials and refs here. Etier,
St. Louis cannot get that one, and Etier knows she should have just left that one go. It was going out of play anyways. But cannot get saved by St. Louis as she dives to go get that. Huskies lead by 1 as right now. Morrow at the serve line here. She sends it over. Etier digs this one up. Paquette, Etier with the attack. Morrow. McFung sets up Gordon. Low zone. Dives to go get that one. And it is the Huskies after a double touch from the Wolves. Huskies get a 2-point lead here. Morrow, over the net it goes. Paquette, Etier, and it's deflected by Bowmaster. And Sterling, and the Wolves get the point there as Fag and St. Louis switched on and off. Etier at the serve line. Morrow sets Sterling up, and it is deflected at the net, and the Huskies get the point here. Julia Gordon serving here. Etier puts it up. Tarango, a very low serve here. A low attack, sorry, as it's saved by Pingoy. Bowmaster, over the net it goes. Etier digs it up to Paquette. Lozon on the attack. Gordon. And that little attempt here by Sterling, she wanted to get just a slight touch over the net and it doesn't fall here. Tarango, St. Louis.
We said earlier that a lot of the match is really going to depend on a lot of those nice cheeky touches, as the softer attempts usually seem to be working out for both teams here tonight.
Pingoy sets it up to Morrow. Sterling on the attack. What an attack here from the Huskies.
Really making up for that previous play, Seth. Amazing work as Huskies lead by 2, 11-9. And they maintain service. As Sterling with the serve.
St. Louis, Paquette here. Tentori with her 15th kill of the night. Gets the 10th point for Algonquin. And last time the Wolves were in this differential here, and the points here, 10-11 for the Huskies. The Wolves went on a point streak and were able to get to 20.
I'm hoping we see that, Seth, as the Huskies claim another one. I'm hoping to see another point or a runaway series for the Wolves, and they can win this set. They're only trailing by 2 points. Still neck and neck, both teams. Anybody's set, truly.
Bowmaster serving it up here. Etier. It's not successfully saved there by Tentori, as Etier was not positioned in the best spot that she could be, as her arms were kind of sideways, and that one hits off her right arm as she dives to get this one. Paquette, Tarango, it's tipped at the line here by Malott. Lozon, and it's tipped at the line. I thought it was, but it is not, and that one goes out of play. Huskies lead by 4.
Huskies really starting to run away with this set now.
Bowmaster serving it up once more. Etier. And Tarango just keeps pouring it in the kills category as she gets her 16th kill on the night. As she's averaging 1.1 kill. Sorry, 2.92 kill per set here. Fake. Sends this one up to Etier. Etier. Saved by Gordon. Moreau. Other side to Pingoy, and is deflected on the net by Lozo. And Huskies up by 4. Pingoy at the serve line here. That one goes out of play, and the Wolves needed that, as there will be a substitution here.
You're absolutely right that said they did need that, but not in so much the sense of the points. They needed that control on that play, and they also, of course, needed to maintain that service, or rather regain that service. But they definitely needed to have that awareness and let that ball fly out of bounds.
Isabella Tarango off here, and Anna Maria Valant on for the first time of the night. Lozon able to save it here. Pingoy, McFung going back to get it. Pingoy sends it over. Etier with the big attack, and Gordon diving to save that with McFung. Digging that one up, and the Wolves get the point there once more.
The Huskies really scrambling defensively there, and I noticed it a couple rallies ago, Seth, but we were seeing more of these these fake out spikes from the Wolves. I think that's the key to success for this game, if they can pull a number of those out and really throw the Huskies off their game.
Morrow sends it over. Paquette to Lozo. Etier with the attack, and it falls inside the court, and Paquette could have let that one go out of bounds on the first touch, as it was looking like it was going that way. She saves it, and Etier able to get the point to fall for Algonquin here, as Valant at the serve line, and her serve hits the net, and Valant will get off and go to the bench here, and Sedoui back on the court. 16-14, Huskies lead by 2. And that's a net violation on Julia Gordon here. And the Wolves get the point with Natasha Lozon to the serve line here.
One more point for the Wolves to tie it up and potentially begin taking the lead.
Lozon, her serve deflected off Julia Gordon's arms, as she was not ready to receive that one. And the Wolves tie this one up 16-16.
Just a nice 9 shy points away from claiming the set for either side.
This could go down as very close in this third set, as both teams looking to win this set here. And Omaro puts it down in the open area,
making it too easy for Omarad to get that spike into the open area. Huskies leaving that space a little too wide.
Natasha Lozon with the first lead for the Wolves in the Wild. Sends it over. Moreau up to Sterling. Sterling out of play. Her attack goes, as she was on a weird angle there, as the Wolves get a 2-point lead. And Lozon, for the third time in a row, at the serve line. Expect a timeout from George Brown soon here, as that's what they've been doing so far the first 2 sets. Pingoy touches it at the last second when it was going out of bounds, and that's a serve ace for Natasha Lozon. And like I just mentioned timeout George Brown.
And you know that's what they want to see. Unfortunate play for Pinoy there. She did not want to let that one get near her. Unfortunately, she made that judgment call, had to go for the touch, and that goes right out of bounds. Unfortunately, getting the 19th point for the Wolves as they lead by 3 and 6 points away from winning the match here tonight.
And we will be right back with the final moments of this third set. And we're back here. 1916, the Wolves lead by 3. Natasha Lozo remains at the serve line here. As the Wolves 6 points shy, of winning this third set and winning the game here. Huskies looking to not allow the Wolves to do that. Nia Gordon saved that one from where it bounds, but Ormerod
You gotta assume, Seth, that timeout was for the Huskies to really get a sense of what they were doing, get a sense of some great play happening. Fortunately, it doesn't look like whatever strategies they discussed may pay off.
And it's almost blocked at the net here by Ormerod, but that was a great attack from the Huskies.
Taking the words right out of my mouth, apparently.
Moreau at the serve line. Etier to Paquette to Ormerod as she comes cross body. Moreau to Gordon. Gordon able to get it over. Paquette. Etier with the attack, and Etier able to get the point there as the Wolves 4 points away from winning the game here and getting to 5-1 on the year. Chanel Etier serving this one over the net. It goes. Deflection off of it. Morrow to Sterling. Etier saving that one. Lozon will hit that one across the net. McFung. Bowmaster. Fag puts it up to Paquette. Tentori. And it's hit at the net by Ormerod. Paquette, Etier, out of play it goes. And the Huskies still in this one as they're down by 3 to tie this one.
You see Etier really disappointed. A great rally, and all the players know it. Etier bearing quickly. You see her bury her face in her hands there in disappointment at that play. Plenty of volleyball left. Arguably still anyone's set as the Wolves lead 21-18.
Huskies got to keep going. Gordon, over the net it goes. St. Louis, save by Etier. Tentori able to get it over the net. Pingoy, digged up by Lozon. Tentori, and it's off the net, and it will be George Brown's point. As the Wolves were looking like they were going to come away with this one.
Nerve-wracking, Seth. We may see the point deficit, the score creep up higher than 25. Because we need more than a 2-point deficit for either team to claim the set.
Gordon sends it over. Etier digs it up. Ormerod attacks that one. And it falls inside of the court here as St. Louis off here.
Breaking the nice point streak from the Huskies, only needing 3 more to claim the game.
Tarango on the court here for the Wolves. Ormerod Serving this one up. Morrow to Pinghoy. Pinghoy. And out of play it goes. Off the Pinghoy attack. 2 points shy of winning this third set and winning this game here. As there will be a timeout. George Brown.
They got to use it, Seth. They got one more, and they got 2 points. 2 points until the Wolves claim it. Huskies only needing 6 here. This is the tough time. They have the timeout. They got to use it to really call in that strategy, really pull together, try to come together as a team.
100% here. We will be right back as the Wolves looking to secure the third set and win this game. 23-19 Wolves lead here. And we're back here. 2 points shy of winning here is the Algonquin Wolves with Pasha Ormerode. Sending this one up. Morrow. And it's blocked at the net by Isabella Tarango. And the Wolves 1 point shy of sweeping the George Brown Huskies here. As you see the whole arena clapping their hands. The brooms are out. Let's see here. Ormerod over the net it goes. And it's game over! Algonquin Wolves sweep the George Brown Huskies. Third set, the Wolves win 25-19 as they win the game. 3-0. Owen, what's your take on this one?
Great play all around here, Seth. Like we said, it was looking like an easy win for the Wolves as they won 3 sets in a row here. Nice, easy, fast win. Barely an hour and 20 minutes in total for the full game, but that's just the way it goes. Huskies really just had a chance to work on their defensive game here today, and I'd say they really pulled it off. I'd say, winning more of those mental battles I talked about at the start of the game. Wolves really kind of challenge him a little bit on that, but I think if the Wolves were really to make more of those trick plays, more of those trick spikes, those fake out spikes, they really could have taken it further with them. Luckily, the Huskies didn't have to battle too hard for this one today.
And for you, Huskies, who was their star player?
Star player for the Huskies, I got to give it to Pinghoy. She had a couple of losses there and some trick plays, but you got to just see the way she dives for the ball here. She is not afraid of the ground here, Seth. She's not afraid to hit it as hard as she can with her full weight. She gets in there, she gets for those digs, and that is a valuable asset to have for the Huskies for sure.
And on the Wolves, got to give it to Karis Tantori, who has 16 kills on the night, as well as Chanel Etier, who has 12. Both these players incredible with Lozon having 9. So Lozon, Etier, and Tantori playing incredible for this Wolves team as they win 3-0 and go 5-1 on the year. Owen, great game that we just saw in front of us.
Tremendous game, Seth.
We get set for the men's game to start in 30 minutes. So tune into that one. For now, we will see you later. I'm Seth Pori. Alongside me is
Owen O'Kelly.
And we will be with you guys the next game. If not, have a great weekend.